This is Paul Kelly for ESBR Boxing. I'm joined by Eric Donovan today. Eric, how are you?
Very well, Paul. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. Firstly, I just want to ask you, obviously you're fighting next weekend, Saturday the 4th. So how's training been going ahead of that fight?
Yeah, training's going really well. Really enjoying it. I had a bit of an injury back in May with the ribs, so back sparring for a good few weeks now, and body's holding up really well. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. Really, really good.
How excited are you to get back into the ring? And the fight's obviously at the Europa Hotel, I think, in Belfast. So is that exciting?
That's very exciting. I'm buzzing, really, to be honest. I've had two fights since the COVID pandemic. I've had another two fall through, but all of these fights were without fans, and this next one, although it's not going to be a full house, I think it's going to be like maybe 30-40% capacity. I think maybe 50% capacity. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think that'll be exciting because it's been a long time. It's been actually February 2019 was the last time. February 2020 was the last time I boxed in front of a big crowd. So I'm really, really excited to get back there.
I was going to say, was that February 2020 fight that was in Belfast, wasn't it? At the Devonish, I believe.
That's right. That was at the Devonish, yeah.
So then, obviously, you've had a couple of fights since then, but to get back in front of a crowd, and as you said, it's not 100%, but I'm sure you are just excited to get out there in front of a crowd, hear the live audience, hear the cheering.
Yeah, no, it's a nice show what Mark Dunlop is putting on, my promoter. It's a dinner show, and people can come. Man, like I've a lot of fans coming, staying for the night in the hotel, and just people are happy to get back out into some sort of normality as well. And it should be a nice intimate gig, bit of a bit of food, and I think there's a bit of entertainment on the night as well. And of course, then the fights. The fights will top it all off, and I'm top of the bill, but it's a comeback fight for me. It's one that is kind of designed to get me some rounds. I'd be hoping to get a good 6 rounds from my opponent. I don't even know who it is yet, but Mark said, he's going to get me someone who's going to bring me 6 rounds and give me those rounds, because they are very important to me. It's been my last fight was last December, so it's been 10 months since I've been in the ring. So if I can get a good test, good few rounds under my belt next weekend, and then push on towards a bigger fight before the end of the year, that would be a great way of finishing the year.
That leads me nicely on to my next question, Eric. I was just about to say, so this is about getting the rounds in, and then back end of this year into 2022, is it more pushing on and then trying to get even bigger fights next year?
Yeah, absolutely. I was only 10 days out from my proposed fight with Mario Alfano back in May for the EU super featherweight European title, and unfortunately I picked up a rib injury 10 days out and had to pull out that fight on medical grounds, and I was gutted about that, naturally enough. So I want to work my way back into that position. Adoni Gago lost the featherweight EBU title as well recently to Guilfoyle, the French guy who came up from super bantamweight. So these are guys, these are fights that I'd love to have. The likes of Jordan Gill, Lee Wood. Lee Wood now is world champion. Fair play to him. He was given out there a few months ago because he had no fight, he'd no plan. And here next minute he's world champion. That's what boxing does. It's a snakes and ladders game. You just got to stay in the gym, stay hungry, stay ambitious, keep ready, and you don't know what will come up. So that's my plan. That's my focus. I want to be in big fights. I really, really do. So bring them on.
So has 2021 then been a frustrating year for you with the 10 months since your last time you were in the ring?
Yeah, well, it has and it hasn't. In a way that I'm trying not to kind of feel sorry for myself about the EU title fight, because I don't want to live in that kind of sorrow, unfortunate kind of feeling, really, really unfortunate stuff. I'm trying to use the whole experience as a learning situation. how I can best prepare myself the next time I'm in that scenario and move forward. You know, I believe that every life event that we have is teaching us something, you know, and it's teaching me something that, you know, maybe it just wasn't meant to be for me at that time. So I try not to focus too much on the negativity side of things. It's a very difficult and challenging time for everybody, you know, and boxing has taken a huge hit. So I just have to try and focus on the things that I can control. And I am enjoying working with my coach, my new coach, Packy Collins, and I feel like I've improved and developed massively over the last number of months with him. So I'm really excited about transferring that from the gym floor and the gym ring into the fight night and showcasing my skills in front of all the fans again. So I'm really excited about what's next.
So obviously, the first fight you said you fought twice at the pandemic. The first was at Fight Camp, I believe, against Alpha Barrett. So looking back to that fight, what could you learn from that? Because a lot of people had you winning the fight until the stoppage. So is there anything you can learn from that? What are the positives you can take?
Oh, huge positives from it, like, you know, the performance, my shot selection, my accuracy, my defensive skills, even though, you know, it was my own defensive error that kind of stopped me, and that was my downfall in round 7. I was probably continuing to operate at the same level, doing the same kind of things round after round, and eventually Zelfa kind of found the blueprint to kind of expose me, and that's what he did, you know, and that's what champions do. But looking back now, I've learned so much from that, and I believe if I fought Zelfa Barrett today, it would be a completely different story. Completely different story. I wouldn't allow myself to be caught like that in a situation like that again. But you know what? As I said, every experience that we have, every situation that we're in is it's either a learning experience or a celebrating experience. Like, but it can be painful, and the painful one. The painful learning experiences like that one against Alpha Barrett, they're the ones we seem to learn the most from. So yeah, look, I linked up with Packy Collins as well. He's my new coach now, and Packy has a wealth of experience in the professional game. So I'm enjoying what I'm learning under his guidance, you know, and learning how to be able to preserve energy and tighten up and take my foot off the gas from time to time and just navigate my way through rounds a lot better and a lot more kind of intelligent than I have been in the past. So it's good. It's all good news.
Sticking with the Zelfa Barrett, I don't want to obviously talk too much about it, but I just wanted your opinion on he fought Kiko Martinez not long ago, and people were kind of thought it was a little bit of a strange decision. What was your take on that fight?
I watched that fight as well, you know, and I actually thought Kiko done enough, you know. I really did in that fight. Like most people did, thought he done enough as well. But no, obviously Zelfa got the decision. It's not Zelfa's fault, you know. He's not judging the fight. He's in there like all professional fighters. They're just trying to get in there and do your best, you know. So, but I did think that the scoring was a little bit harsh on Kiko Martinez. I thought maybe a draw might have been a fair result, you know. But I think they might end up having to do that again. I think that might be an asterisk hanging over Zelfa's head there. He might want to kind of right that wrong or something like that, or put it to bed, like, you know, and then move on towards bigger and better things, you know. So
your last fight was in Belgium, I believe. So what was it? What was that experience like? Was it different?
It was very different. Yeah, it was a strange kind of experience. We were fighting in a kind of a professional gym. It was a huge gym. It was a nice gym, really impressive, like, by the way. But again, there was only like the people, the fighters, the boxing members and that allowed in. So it was kind of strange. And I mean, I boxed at Rafael Castillo, you know, he's a tough journeyman. And I just got good 6 rounds under my belt, and the plan was to kick on into 2021 and hopefully move a step closer towards the European title. And then I had another fight back in March. I had another fight in March 2021 in Belgium, where I flew out and my opponent had a problem with the logistics, the medical side of things, and he couldn't make it out there. So I had to just kind of give my team a hand out there and help my coach. And then obviously May, I had the EU title fight that kind of fell through injury. So that's where I'm kind of at now at the moment. But I'm really, really excited to get back into the ring and to push on to bigger fights and better fights, because I think boxing at the moment there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of guys around my weight. You just seen it the other night with like Jazza Dickens, Kid Galahad. You know, you've like, as I said, Jordan Gill, Lee Wood. You know, you've Reese Bellotti. All these guys are knocking around my weight. Even the super featherweight division as well. Archie Sharp, Selfa Barrett. You know, I could get a call for any of these lads at any time, and you know what? If I do get a call, I'm going to take it and I'll be ready.
So you say obviously you want big fights, and you've named a few there. Would they be, would they be on the list, so to speak? You know, your Jordan Gills.
Look, all of those guys are on my radar. Like, I want big fights, and they're the guys that are signed with the big companies. You know, the Frank Warrens, the Eddie Hearns, the Matchrooms, the Matchroom Sport, the BT. You know, like, so I'm working with Mark Dunlop. He's one of the best managers in the game, and he has very good connections and good contacts. So I know he's working behind the scenes, and he's in negotiations all the time about me, you know. So I'm a big name in the professional game as well, and I'm a big name in the division. I'm not like, people know that what I'm about. They know I'm a good fighter. They've seen it against Alpha Barrett, but I'm better. I'm better again than I was that night against Alpha Barrett. I've improved immensely. You know, that was my first time in that level, you know, on a platform like that size. So I've learned so much about myself, and the next time I'm in that situation, I would be so much better prepared, and hopefully come away next time with a much more positive result as well. So yeah, my manager is working, and he has something up his sleeve for me, I believe, and I can't wait to hear what it is for the end of the year, please God.
So I wanted to just quickly ask you about, obviously a few weeks ago there was the Olympics, and Ireland did well with Kelly Harrington winning gold, and Aidan Walsh got his bronze. Obviously he couldn't fight for the chance to win a gold or a silver, so that was disappointing for him. But I'm sure you know them both well. So how proud of them are you? And has seeing them succeed made you even more buzzing to want to get back into the ring?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was working for RTE as a pundit on the Olympic Games, you know, and so I was journeying with them all the way through, and they were inspiring, they were fantastic, they were entertaining, and you know, I felt so sorry for Aidan Walsh, you know, really, really gutted for him not getting a chance to box in the semi-final. But I think a bronze medal softened the blow of it all. You know, to come home with a bronze medal from Olympic Games, he's in the history books forever now. And Kelly Harrington, you know, winning that gold medal just couldn't happen to a nicer person. And that was the icing on the cake. But I thought the whole Irish boxing team performed extremely well. And unlucky enough, maybe on a different day, Kurt Walker, Michaela Walsh could possibly have got a medal as well, you know. But overall, on reflection, I think it was very successful Olympic Games, considering the difficult run in through, you know, with the COVID restrictions and everything. So overall, I think Ireland are very, very happy.
Coming away from boxing for a second, I believe you have your own podcast. Is that right?
That's it.
Could you tell us a bit more about that? I'm intrigued to hear a bit more about that, if you can.
Yeah, thanks very much. Actually, I do have a podcast. Myself and a guy called Will O'Callaghan from Off the Ball News Talk. We work on a podcast called Hooked on Health, where I sit down and talk with people, mostly kind of well-known people, high-profile people around Ireland, but from all backgrounds, like, you know, all walks of life, like musicians, sports stars, all-stars, comedians, psychologists, therapists, dancers, you know, and they all have a story of triumph over adversity. And that's what I try and sit down and talk with them about mental health, about well-being, about addiction, about, you know, overcoming the adversity and overcoming the struggles and the challenges in her life and how they did it. You know, like sometimes we talk about like today we're a bit more open and understanding around mental health, and people will talk about mental health. But in my conversations, I go a little bit deeper. I want to know, how do people get on with it, or how did they overcome their mental health problem or challenges? And these people, these guests of mine, are actually talking about sitting down with therapists. They're talking about actually going that step further, asking for that help, going through the process of working with a counselor, working with a psychologist, working with a therapist, and moving through that process and coming out the other side. And I just love this type of storytelling, because I think the more of this type of storytelling that we can project, then the better help it will provide to the people who are out there struggling and find themselves in a bit of, you know, in a tough situation. I think these conversations can provide them with some hope.
Yes, definitely. Anyone that hasn't checked it out, definitely go and do so. But yes, going back to the boxing, Eric, we've talked briefly about what you wanted to do next year. You know, big fights and stuff like that. So if I said to you, tell me the perfect 2022, what does it consist of?
Probably the EBU title for the EBU featherweight title. The European featherweight title. It's always been a dream of mine to become a featherweight champion of Europe, and coming back to boxing after being 3 years in retirement. You know, turning professional before my 31st birthday after retiring for 3 years. I always said that, you know, imagine, wouldn't it be amazing if I could get myself into a European title position, you know? And to be fair, I'm actually not far off it. I'm really, really close. So the EBU would be the dream fight for me in 2022. You know, if that can't happen, then the EU title would be the next in line. So I just want to secure one of those European titles, and then I feel like my job, I feel like it's a job well done. Then I feel like I will feel content with my journey back into the area of pro boxing.
I know you mentioned there that we don't yet know your opponent for next weekend, but finally, I just want you to say, what can we expect from Eric Donovan next weekend?
I think you're going to expect a very entertaining performance, all action. I'm going to use all of my experience and all of the skills and drills that we've been working on in the gym over the last few months in my sparring sessions. I believe I'm boxing a lot better than I ever boxed before. So I just want to entertain the fans and give them something to remember on the night. And thanks to everybody as well for buying tickets off me. It's a great privilege and an honor to be able to showcase my skills in front of an audience again. And to all my sponsors who believe in me and back me and have been doing for the last number of years, I can't thank you all enough. And I hope you all enjoyed the night as well.
Well, listen, Eric, thanks very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Great to speak to you.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you. Appreciate it, Paul. Best of luck.
Thanks very much. All the best for fight night.
Thanks, Paul. God
Cheers.
bless, mate.
Cheers, Eric. Bye-bye.